Good evening, ladies and gents. Good evening, ladies and gents. If you can hear my voice and you can see my screen. Evening, ladies and gents. If you can hear my voice and you can both see my screen, please do raise your hand on the Zoom application so that we know that we are in business. Awesome, Marinus. Thanks for notifying us. Anyway, good evening, ladies and gents. Njabulo Nsibande here. This is 21 Follow the Trader series, 21 July 2021. Simon will not be joining us this evening because he's recording for his radio show. His Nasdaq trade is still on. He's still in profit. It came bitterly close from stopping him out, but it didn't. So yeah, quick reminder that you can lose more than what you start with. And you can join Think Markets on their Wednesday webinars. So I got stopped out quite a bit, unsurprisingly in the past week. The market has been battered, this past week. Kicking it off with Investec, I got stopped out. I had my stop just below the low there. I got stopped out with the candle there. Today we had, looks like that support is holding. We had a nice strong bullish engulfing candle on Investec, but I wanted back above 56.80, and then I'll rebuy the stock again. But for now, we'll stay on the sidelines on Investec. I also got stopped on Coronation. I had my stop loss just below those lows there. Perhaps a stop below that swing low, and the swing low there was a better stop. But if the stock breaks back above that 49 Rand support above the 200 period exponential moving average, I'll jump back into the trade with a stop loss now at 45 Rand and some change. So waiting for that break back above that 200 period exponential moving average, and hopefully at the same time above that 50 period exponential moving average as well. And guys, if you have questions, do feel free to pop them in the Q&A box or in the chat box. I'm monitoring both, and if they relate to the chart that I'm looking at, I'll answer it immediately. But if not, I will park it to the end. So I also got stopped on Northern as the stock came back to test that 200 period exponential moving average. So now I want it back above that 273. So if you can get it close back above 273, I'll jump back into the trade with a stop loss just below those low, just below the 200-day exponential moving average. So somewhere there, somewhere around that 204, that's where I'm going to put my stop loss, unless of course the market gives me a better place to place my stop. I also got stopped on a loss on Monday as it came back to test that. I had my stop just below that red candle there. I got stopped here, so I want it back above 398. If you can get it back above 398, I'll jump back into the trade with a stop loss. I have a sound feedback. Oh, sorry. Let me try and do. I don't know. How about now? Do I still have it? Guys, if I still have like a weird feedback audio, please let me know on the chat box or in the Q&A box. Hopefully that because I had a different program running in the background, which perfect. Thank you. Let me just close it. So yeah, on a break back above 398 on Monday, I'll jump back into the trade with a stop loss just below that 50-day exponential moving average, just below that swing low there, at around 374 on Monday. I also got stopped on Impala, which on what seems to be what seems to be have been a false break, but the stock came back to retest the 200 period exponential moving average. So if we break back above 252, I'll add to the position. Cool. I'll add to the position. Rather, I'll jump back into the trade with stop loss around that 219 area on Impala. I mean, rather on Nsibande. Nsibande still looks like it's still in the range, coming back to test what was resistance, now holding a support. So I want it back above that 64 rand level. So if we can break out of this range again, I'll I'll jump back into the trade with a stop loss just below that low there, around the 52, 53 rand, or let's see, yeah, around that 54 rand and some change level. If we can get back above 64, I'll jump back into the trade with a stop loss of around 54. I got stopped on with a modest profit on Richmond. I had my stop just below that low, after adding to the position there. I got stopped at a modest profit, and looks like I got triggered again. So with another green close tomorrow, because that is not too convincing. If we can get a close above this today's close, I will jump back into the trade with a stop loss there at 166.65. Glencore, still pretty much range bound. So I wanted above that 64.84 with a stop loss there just below that swing low there, below that 50 period exponential moving average around 57 rand and some change. So if we can get through that level, I'll take the position with a stop loss there. I also got stopped on a modest loss on Royal Bafokeng. So if we can jump back above that 103 level, I'll jump back into the trade with a stop loss there around that 97 rand and some change on Royal Bafokeng. I also got stopped on a more preemptive trade on NB and Bev. And now I don't like this technical picture anymore, because the right shoulder is much shallower than the left shoulder, and ideally you want as the situation that we had previously on that false break, the right shoulder being slightly higher than the left shoulder, and now we have we've taken the right shoulder, the low of the right shoulder out. It looks like the stock came back, still battling with the 200 period exponential moving average, but I'll wait for it to break that 1074 level again. If it jumps back back above that 1011, I'll just ignore that for now. I want it above 1074. Nontando, yes, I'm using a daily chart. I'm trading on a daily chart, so all the charts that I'm looking at will be on a daily chart. And this is AB and BEV. This is the chart for AB and BEV. Netbank. Also, I got stopped on Netbank on that sell-off there. Looks like the stock is holding that 50 period exponential moving average. Let's see if it does actually do that. I want it back above that 177 level. Perhaps I can pull that ever so slightly closer, because that was a level I was looking at to add to the position. Perhaps if we can get a close above 174, I'll take the trade with a stop loss for now at 155, unless of course the market gives me a better entry. But if I put that there as support, so this is this looked like support. This level of 165 held as support. When it broke below that level, it then held as resistance. So it broke back above 164 with a stop loss just below the swing low there around that 156 is not a bad entry. You know, with a break above 174, an opportunity to add to that position. And Remgrow also got stopped. I got stopped a lot this week. So I also got stopped on Remgrow, the 200 period exponential moving average not holding. So when a stock breaks below the 200 period exponential moving average, I am no longer interested because, you know, as they say, nothing good happens below the 200-day exponential moving average. So I want it back above the 200-day exponential moving average, perhaps, if we can get a close through that 116 level, then I'll start being interested into the stock. But for now, you know, it's out of play, as it were. You know, if you subscribe to my VillageTrader mailing list, I did make I did start this week's copy of Stocks in Play by saying, you know, the market has been pretty much flat, and when the market is flat, you know, there's fewer opportunities, and trying to chase opportunities at this point in time could hurt the pocketbook quite a bit. So in any case, I also got stopped on growth point as well. So I wanted back about 15 Rand. So if you can get it close through that 15 Rand 05 level, I'll take the trade again with a stop loss around that 200-day exponential moving average on 14 Rand and some change on growth point. Otherwise, I think we did cover these last week. I also got stopped in Standard Bank. I'm no longer interested in Standard Bank. As you can see, you know, stock trading below that 200 period exponential moving average, and looks like we're going to have the death cross happening quite soon. Let's look at the open trades. African banker looking fairly good. Holding that 50-day exponential moving average quite strongly. So if you can get through 290, I'll be adding to my position with a stop loss, raising my stop ever so slightly to that 260 level. Holding quite nicely there at holding that 200. That 50-day exponential moving average rather. And with PGMs, you'd note there's a bit of rand weakness happening with a nice head and shoulders pattern breaking out there, coming back to test that neckline, and holding it and holding above that 50-day exponential moving average. So we could, if we can get through that 1480 around 15 Rand level, breaking the 200-day exponential moving average on the USD ZAR chart, we could see some further rand weakness, which will bode well for PGMs and gold miners and the like. Aspen looking fairly good. Aspen looking quite good, but still quite a bit of selling there around that 172 level. So if you can get through that 172.50 level, I'll add to my position with a stop loss around that 163 and some change there on Aspen. Next is Astral Foods. Looks like there's quite a bit of buying happening around that 149, 150 level on Aspen, or rather on Astral Food. Looks like the sellers are running out of steam around that price. It looks like buyers are defending that 150, 160 price quite strongly. So if you can get through 159, I'll add to my position with a stop loss just below the traffic around that 148 Rand level there on Astral Food. I'm liking this price actually quite a bit, unless of course the sellers win the day, in which case if they take out that low there, I want to be out, and then I'll get stopped out around that 200-day exponential moving average. I'd rather, if they take out this low, I'd rather be waiting on the sidelines to see if I want to jump back into the trade. Redcop holding that 50-day exponential moving average quite strongly, looking quite nice. Looks like the buyers that were there at 308 came back to defend that price there. So if we can get through 331, I'll look to add to the position and I'll see where the market, how the market structure looks like for me to place my stop. But at the moment, I'm looking for that 331 level on Bitcoin. Clicks are looking fairly quite decent, with a decent head and shoulders pattern forming there. This is the kind of head and shoulders inverted head and shoulders pattern that I like, where the right shoulder is much shallower than the left shoulder. It shows that the buyers are coming in quite strongly on the stock, as previously did, on that swing low there. So if the stock can break through that 63 Rand level, I'll raise my stop to 252 and add to my position again. If we can get through 277, I'll be adding to clicks. Perhaps the vaccine rollouts and as we get back to normal, the stock will start to run up. Discam has been amongst my favorite, solely because it held up quite strongly in the face of a weak market. We saw the top 40, coming back to test that 59,000 points level, in a sideways range that it has been since, I believe since around February or March, there's about. So Discam holding quite nicely, even though the market was selling off the past couple of weeks, looking very good. So if we can get through 32 Rand 50, I'll be looking to add to my position with a stop loss just below that pause there. As you can see, it looks like a decent head and shoulders pattern there on Discam, looking quite decent. Just now looking fairly strong. Also like Discam holding strong in the face of a weak market, has been sideways since early June. In fact, since around late May to early June, it's been range bound since. So if we can get through that 172 price, I'll raise my stop to around that 162, and I will not be adding to the position until my stop is above that 162.08 level. Then I'll be adding to my position on Distal. I'm liking Distal quite a bit, showing some strength in the face of a weak market, and even with it looks like the market has already priced in all the lockdowns and future lockdowns, and that the lockdowns are no longer affecting the stock adversely. And I think also them reducing debts during a pandemic is quite strong. So the market looks like it's liking the stock quite a bit, but there's a fair bit of selling between that at 72 and a fair bit of buying around that 164. So if that battle is over, with a close above that 172 and some change level, I'll be adding to I'll trail my stop to just below the sellers there around that 163 level on Distal. Exaro also looking fairly strong after finding some sellers there at 183, unsurprisingly, because we haven't seen that price for quite some time. So if we can get through that level, that 183 level, I'll be adding to my position with a stop loss around that 168 level. At this point, my risk on the trade is reduced to about 2%, and if I raise it to around that 160, 167, 168 level, further reduces that risk to about 0.5%, in which case I'll be adding another 0.5% on the break above that 183 level on Exaro. For Shini, looking fairly weak, but still range bound. Looks like there's a fair bit of buyers that are defending that 159, 150 price. So if that low gets taken out, I'll be taking out at a modest profit at about 5% on Foschini. But if it can break above 163, I'll add to my position with a stop loss exactly where it is. I'll add another 1% risk on the trade. Kumba also looking fairly strong, looking quite good. So if we can get through 726, I'll be adding to my position with the stop loss there around 679. I do expect the stock to hold this level for quite some time. Yeah, but we'll see how the market develops over the next few weeks. Life healthcare eventually broke out of this range. Broke out yesterday. I entered the trade earlier today, trading my stop to around the 21 rand level. That pushed my pushed my trade to about 0.71% in profit. So I added another 1% risk on the trade, and now I have about I'm pretty much at about break even on this trade. So if we can get through 24.50, I'll add to the position and throw my stop ever so slightly to just below that low there, around 22.30, 22.20. And again, ultimately, if we can get through 25.75, I'll add again to the position. And because up to that point, the sky is the limit. And if you could look at the daily, at the weekly charts, you know, there's quite some levels there to cross, and above the 25.80 level, we could see that stock breaking. And if I draw a downtrend line here, as you can see, it broke this trend line on a weekly chart, came back to retest it and hold above the 200-day exponential moving average, which is quite bullish. And as it stands right now, the week, you know, it's only 3 days in, only about 2 days to go, which is Thursday and Friday, but we already have a bullish engulfing candle around that 200-week exponential moving average, which is quite significant. But if we can get through 25.80, you know, stock would be looking quite good. It looks like it's setting up for a nice head and shoulders pattern there. One should be quite reserved in rushing that stop, because we could see the stock further creating that right shoulder of the equation. But if we can get through the 25.85 level on the daily chart, that looks quite strong. If we can get through that level, and that's a fairly decent breakout there on Life Healthcare. I'm liking the look of this chart quite a bit. Momentum coming back to test that 50-day exponential moving average and holding it quite nicely. So if you can get through 20 Rand 40, I'll be adding to my position with a stop loss around just below that swing low there, around 19.30. Stan, I see you raising your hand. If you have a question, please drop it in the Q&A box or in the chat box. I'll get to it towards the end. And I'm seeing the questions. I'm not ignoring them. If they're not time sensitive, I'll get to them at the end. Next is MTN Group. MTN holding that 106 level as resistance quite strongly. Looks like there's quite a bit of selling happening there. So if we could get through that level, I'll add to my position with a stop loss around that 101.44 level. And ultimately, again, I'll add to the position with a breakthrough that 108 level on MTN. MTN looking quite decent at the minute. Rock also holding that 50-day exponential moving average quite well. So if we can get through 105.90 again, I'll add to the position and show my stop just below that 50-day exponential moving average, just below that swing low on Rock. SAPI seeing some weakness this past couple of weeks, but if we can get through that 45.25, I'll be looking to add to my position with a stop loss, perhaps just below the 50-day exponential moving average at another swing low that we may see in the future. But I'm liking the fact that it's holding that 200-day exponential moving average quite strongly. So if you can get back above 45.25, I'll be adding to my position there. ShopRite, a nice cup and handle formation. It didn't break on that handle there. Looks like, but that 50-day exponential moving average look like it's holding quite strongly. So if you can get through that 162 level, I'll be adding to my position with a stop loss just below that 50-period exponential moving average, around that 151 level on ShopRite. I'm liking the ShopRite picture quite a bit at the moment. Telkom fairly flat since I bought it. So I'm waiting for a close through that 46 Rand 45 cents, in which case I'll add to the position with a stop loss there around 42 Rand on the stock. Today we had a tiny bullish engulfing candle and engulfing only yesterday's candle. But if we can get through that 46 Rand 46.45 level, I'll add to my position and trail my stop to around 42.82. Truworths also looks like it's found some sellers there around 60 Rand. So if you can get through that level, I'll be adding to my position with a stop loss around the 56 Rand 40. And again, if we can get through 63 Rand, for a bit of context, let me jump back to weekly chart. As you can see, that 63 Rand level held quite well as support previously. I'll bring it back to some future points. Looking fairly well. So if you can get through that 60 Rand and some change, I'll be adding to my position with a stop loss around the 56 Rand level. Woolies also range bound at the minute. So if you can get through 55 Rand and some change, I'll be adding to the position with a stop loss just below that 50-period exponential moving average on Woolies. So that's pretty much it. Looking at the journal quickly, the portfolio looking fairly decent, with a plus 27.5% profit if all the stops are hit. The biggest risk at the moment being Exaro at 2.1% on of the portfolio, looking quite decent. And if you look at it, looking at the closed equity curve, we had that big spread on the closed on transaction capital. Looks like the market is bringing back to earth, but hopefully we'll get a higher high on that equity curve there. Looking quite decent day. And Rich says, I've been using the spreadsheet. So Enrich is asking about this level, this column here. Rather this column here. So what I typically do, I always place a stop loss before the event that triggers the stop loss for me happens. So I kind of gauge how what's the risk I would have if I get to adjust that stop next. It's quite useful to kind of see a step ahead on my portfolio. So it's kind of helping me in that regard. And for now, I have only 4 winning trades if all my stops are hit, which is about 17% hit rate, which is fine because that changes over time as I'm adjusting stops, exiting positions, etc. So looking fairly good. So I'm going to jump back into some charts. We had a chart request on Massmart. I don't believe we have Massmart here as a stock. Yeah, we don't have Massmart, but with the little data that we have, I believe this is for thick markets, equities, the equity side of the business. That doesn't look good to me. If a stock crosses below its 200-day exponential moving average, I'm no longer interested in that stock. Cash bill. Tell you what, let me just pull up trading view, because I'll have because I don't believe Massmart and cash build are available. So let me just let's see. There. So yeah, and then cash build. Yeah, that looks this cash build chart looks fairly quite strong. Perhaps if we can break that trend line there, breaking above that 50-day exponential moving average, that looks pretty good. So if we can get through that trend line with a stop loss, I'll put my stop loss around that 243 level. So if we can break through 293. I'll be interested in cash build. Unfortunately, I don't have I don't have it on the list of stocks on the Think Markets platform. Marlo requested Netcare. Do we have Netcare on the Think Markets platform? Okay, I believe we do. So let me just quickly get it from here. So yeah, Netcare looking fairly decent, moving quite strongly the past couple of weeks in the face of a weak market. So if we can get through that 15 Rand 40 level, I'm looking to buy with a stop loss just below that 50-day exponential moving average, around that 1450. And again, if we can get through 1590, I'll be adding to the position. Good spot there, Marlo. I'm also looking at Netcare with keen eyes. BHP. BHP looking quite good. Thanks, Notando. I think I did skip BHP. So that resistance there at around 458, looking like it's holding quite well. So I'm waiting for a breakthrough that 458 level, in which case I'll add to my position with a stop loss, raise it ever so slightly to around that 421 level. I like the fact that it came back to test the trend line that it broke there and held it quite nicely. So if we can get through that 458, I'll add again. I'll be adding to my position there on BHP. I'm liking BHP quite a bit. Guys, I'm not seeing questions or chat requests coming in anymore. I'll give it in the meantime, guys, make sure that you do subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the bell notification. The video will be up shortly. The video for this session and all the other sessions will be up shortly, and the link will be in the email and the email reminder that you get. Nontando, if you go to if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, it's on the Follow the Trader series description. You will find it there. And alternatively, I'll get someone to add it on the reminder email that gets sent through. But yeah, it is in public there. And then what you can do once you bring back, just make your own copy and just delete, remove all my stocks, and then put your trades there. And I'm also working on improving it with more analytics. improving the spreadsheet with more analytics, and also building a software on the side that will do that much better. No, thank you, Graham. Let's look at SAPI. Let's bring that. I think I am in SAPI, am I not? I believe I was stopped on SAPI. Let's have a quick look, see. Just delete all of that. So at Rich, it is a possible head and shoulder. So Ed Rich is suggesting a possible head and shoulders pattern on SAPI. It is a possible one with that right shoulder there and the head there, and rather the left shoulder, and the left the right shoulder being much lower, being a bit lower than the left shoulder. So we could see if the stock doesn't hold that 200-day exponential moving average and it breaks lower, we could see the stock coming back as low as 31 Rand, which would be approximately that distance of the head projected to the downside. So if you take out that 200-day exponential moving average, I'll be stopped out, and I don't want to be in that trade. But I don't short stocks, but this would be a decent short on SAPI if this head and shoulders would play out. Because we did have a break test of the neckline, but the neckline didn't hold. That does worry me a little bit. So let's wait and see if that 45, if we get a close above 45 Rand, I would deem that head and shoulders pattern have failed, because now we're making a higher right shoulder, and perhaps above 46.90. I would deem this head and shoulders invalid on SAPI. Ladies and gents, not seeing any more questions. Remember to subscribe to the channel. Also subscribe to the VillageTrader.co.za website to, I published a stocks and play copy every Monday, looking at stocks, looking at in the coming week, also the podcast. Today, the podcast was supposed to come out today, will come out tomorrow. I did an interview with Simon there, looking at his death dual support portfolio. So yeah, otherwise, guys, we can park it here. Not seeing any more questions. Guys, thank you again for hanging with me, spending some time with me. We'll chat again. Stay safe, stay warm. If you can take care of someone, please do that. I hope your communities aren't as badly affected by the strike, and then I hope your families aren't badly affected by the strike. Otherwise, thank you guys. We'll chat again next week. Cheers.